I have to do this. I have to try and raise it.
The bar isn't something that actually lowers, Mr. Cameron.
Le who? The her.
The bar has been lowered to depths we can't even fathom. If anyone can go down there and raise it back, it's me.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Descending to 1,000 feet. I don't see the bar yet. Looks like it must have sunk pretty low.
Missed by 1 second, but I tried.
What a great opening. Thank you,
I mean,
Enzo. Awesome,
actually, I made that, but I'm gonna ask
Oh, did
Enzo
you?
for his. I mean, it took me like 10 minutes, but like it's rudimentary compared to Enzo's stuff because Enzo makes No, sometimes I can make colorful shit. So yeah.
No, it was great. I love it. I love it. It was great, man.
Yeah. So thanks for doing this. With 2024, it's hard to say what low bar reaction or videos you want to do because it's going to be a pretty bleak year. So
Yeah.
I was not expecting to have you want to do Dune 2. So
Yeah, no, I wasn't a huge fan of the first one. I mean, I did not like it, but it wasn't, it was just kind of like, it was good. It wasn't, and it didn't blow my skirt up. I liked it better than the 1984 original, obviously. I didn't read the book. I have a bunch of friends that are into that. You know me, I don't do sci-fi a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I meant to read it and I just got lazy and just didn't do it. I have no real good excuse, so I'm not going to waste your time with a bad one.
Yeah.
But after everybody's glowing review on Open Bar and then the drinker himself giving a review, I'm like, I gotta see if this is if it meets all the hype, man. And so glad I did.
Well, it's the first time doing this with you because actually it'll be out tonight. I've been so busy recording a video with my son, but I did see it Sunday. So technically speaking, this is my second time. But also, I didn't have this T-shirt, which I just got the first time around.
Awesome!
So nice
That's
doing
awesome.
you. And of course, everybody, I just showed the screen. I think Adam on B-roll mentioned this because I have Regal Cinema. AMC only has this, but I would have paid for this had I had access to it. But right here, the legendary AMC popcorn bucket.
Oh my God. I didn't see anybody with that at the theater, just so you know.
I mean, they're sold out. That's why.
Oh, is that why? Oh, okay. Yeah, they didn't have any at the theater I was at.
I love some people are saying like, there's actually been like news right here, AMC reveals bucket, but like, some people are talking about the things you want to do this awesome popcorn bucket.
It looks pretty gross. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't look attractive.
Yeah,
I would not eat food out of that thing. I don't think I would do anything with that thing.
I know what I would. Yeah,
burn it with fire would be like my first thought there.
I know exactly what I would be doing to it, but
yikes.
Yeah, so I got my Regal refillable cup, but
So you want to put your disclaimer out now because we're gonna try to keep it broad, but we're gonna spoil this.
Well, like I tell people if they watch replay, we do like other YouTubers, obviously Critical Drinker, our buddy Enzo and stuff. But like Chris Gore was an Open Bar last weekend. Chris Gore gets love or hate. I like the guy. I think he's very enthusiastic, and I watch his review. And he same thing. Like he's my motivation with you, where it's like, hey guys, it's Chris and Alan. We're gonna talk about Dune 2 for like a good 45 minutes. And here at the 1 hour mark, spoiler, and we'll do a half hour spoilers. Same thing with you. So I won't spoil anything until when we get into like the 1 hour mark, I'll just say, listen, guys, here's a recommendation, yay or nay, blah, blah. And we'll talk about everything that happened because, there's so much to fucking unpack. But
there is a lot to unpack. Yeah.
I had
more than I would have guessed.
I had to put this on here because I cannot do a fucking Dune video without showing this because it's fuck the legendary guys. But I gotta for 1 minute here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Does it stop?
You hear it?
Then are people just gonna start wanting skinny people's microbiomes to be skinny, or an athlete's microbiome to feel athletic and young again?
Yes, it's possible, but we don't know enough. There is no super feces which can make you athletic and young.
Well, what about Tom Brady's poop?
Oh, Jesus. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
The spice. He knows about the spice.
Wow.
Tom Brady seems to work really hard on his diet and stuff. His shit must be pretty good.
More than pretty good. The spice melange.
Oh, God. And they spend the whole episode trying to steal Tom Brady's shit.
Wow. That's disturbing.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons why I had to stop watching South Park, but that's okay.
It's a spice. Honestly, though, if anybody was going to steal somebody's shit, would be Tom Brady's. I'm assuming so.
Sure.
The Spice Melange. Yeah. So besides taking my billion notes, I figured, well, I mean, what's I guess it's a pretty big fucking cast, but I figured we can break down off the bat the cast because in not every single member, but the main like I guess 5 or 6 people, it's a big fucking cast. So
yeah, it's a big cast, but
well,
you know, when as we get, I have a lot of disagreements on the critics. I've only seen like 3 critic reviews, including the drinkers, and I got to tell you, man, I haven't agreed with any of them so far.
Okay, well, there's something, and I'll let you go first because I have my opinions on this. But because you texted me, what is your opinion on? Because she was only in the first one for like 4 seconds, but what is your opinions on Zendaya in Dune?
Yeah, no, Zendaya, I am not a big fan of. I think she's highly overrated. I did watch the Spider-Man films, of course, and I did watch the Euphoria show, season 1 and 2. I think she's just really I just think she's really overrated as an actress. I think she's like the flavor of the month. And I think that she's being like forced down our throats, like a lot of, you know, that expression of Hollywood trying to make somebody happen. I think she falls pretty cleanly into that.
Yeah. Hopefully Lance this weekend. You can see. I feel bad for you foreigners. You guys haven't seen it yet. So
yeah. Well, Lance, just so you know, we are gonna mark the point where we start spoiling. So, if that means anything to you, but yeah, I understand. And you do always have to be careful around the Lord of Toxicity. But yeah, I will tell you that I think this is by far her best performance. I don't know her from her Disney days. I only knew her when she popped up as MJ in the Spider-Man movies, and then I saw the Euphoria shows out of curiosity. And you know, really never did anything for me. I don't find her to be very attractive. I don't think she's funny. I don't, you know, like I don't get all the hype around her. It's kind of like she's like an ethnic version of Taylor Swift. I don't get it. I don't get what the big deal is about her. You know, I know she's like super TikTok famous and all that shit.
Yeah.
All that being said, she did an amazing job and put in a banging performance. I really liked everything that she did in this movie. I never thought that they were like bait switching, hyping her up. Although I was kind of already assuaged of that fear from other reviewers and stuff. I know the drinker's not going to lie to us. So I wasn't too worried about it, but you know, I always have my own opinions. And no, she doesn't do a whole lot of that. Basically, you know, to kind of caveat on what Will has said, she kind of just is there to keep Paul honest, you know, and you know, it's almost kind of heartbreaking how her thing turns out. I don't know 100% if they'll do a third film. They probably will, because I feel like this is going to do very well. But I think if they do and she's in it, I'm all for it. Again, I might familiarize myself after this with the source material just so I know a little bit more about this, because I find it very, very interesting. But yeah, Zendaya knocked it out of the park. After 10 years of Hollywood trying to shove her down my throat, she's finally kind of she's grown on me. I don't find her any more attractive. You know, so
definitely if they doll her up like this, that's not a bad shot of her.
No, I don't see it. She looks like a dude to me. She looks like a dude. There's nothing about her that does anything for me. She's built like a little boy, and she's not that hot. But hey, great performance. I did like her in the third Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. I'm not saying I didn't, but she was just kind of there as like a little, and which is all she was supposed to be. But you know, the Euphoria thing kind of left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
And I've kind of just been like, every time she pops up somewhere. And the more Hollywood and mainstream tries to shove somebody down my throat, I'm not here for it. I don't like it. But she's great, and she really knocked it out of the park with this. So, you know, kudos to her. I hope I've adequately answered your question.
No, the first showing and talking with my kid, and second time even, I hate to say it, but like I'm the same boat as you. I don't think she's, like really ugly. I'm just not attracted to her. And so far, everything I've seen of her and even her offline speeches or, interviews, I think she's annoying as fuck. And
Yeah.
after two viewings of this film, I gotta say that this is for me her best performance, hands down. And I was
Yeah.
shocked at how much I actually fucking liked her. And I know
Yeah.
like I talked to Lance about this and other people. There was a big thing going on a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure if it was taken out of context or what happened, but there was this big interview where Villeneuve was saying, "Oh, it's going to focus away from Paul and make this the story of Shawnee," and everyone's like,
You
"What?"
know,
And I'm
I
not sure.
keep I
So
keep hearing that, don't you? Doesn't it seem like we keep hearing that and
yeah,
then it doesn't actually happen? And then like
so
James Bond, Northern English Bastard just did a review of No Time to Die, and weren't they saying that about the black female James Bond and that she was going to outshine him, and then it didn't happen, and then they said that they've said that now about Shogun, and I'm not seeing it, and they said it
yeah.
about this, and I'm not seeing
I
it.
mean, I'm pulling off Reddit. I mean, who knows what's taken out of context right there. Dune Part 2 director Denis Villeneuve says Zendaya Shawnee becomes film's main character amidst changing Frank Herbert's novel because he didn't think it was proper. Which I've watched it twice. That's total bullshit. So I don't know if
Huh.
somebody's misquoting him or somebody's making this up, but yeah, I mean, this is by
Well,
all
we didn't read
accounts.
the book. We didn't read the book. Maybe she's a lot less in the book. Maybe.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but in terms of the film, though, it said it was going out there saying that she was going to take over the film. That's why, like, even right here, said the film's
Well,
main
I can only,
character.
yeah, I'm only
Yeah,
seeing the headline, so I can only
yeah,
say, he's saying that he's changing it from the source material a little bit.
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she's not ethnic in the. I know she's not ethnic in the '84 movie.
Mm.
But that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah,
And
I'll
we'll
get
get
that.
to we'll
Yeah,
get to that.
we'll
But
get that
yeah,
later. No, so no, as I said, people were worried about that maybe Shawnee would be taking like the whole girl boss thing. She'd be
right.
taking
Well,
over Paul's story. And no, we both watched it. Well, I watched it twice. I can
yeah,
100% say this is a story of Paul Atreides.
yeah,
Shawnee is in the film, but she's part of the film. She's not the entire film. She's not the main protagonist.
yeah.
She
She stays in her place. Everybody. She's not
yeah,
outshining the hero.
no, 100%.
She has kind of a couple cool set pieces where
Yeah.
she gets to kick some ass, but she's not kicking any ass
Mm.
that would not be logical for her to do.
Yeah.
Um,
Overall, I do like her character development. She keeps Paul in check and she does learn to love him and care about him. She also still doesn't trust him, and she also worries about, going from Dune 1 to Dune 2. The Fremen people are essentially slaves and they're fighting against slavery. And she's worried about, okay, you are the supposed Messiah, you're the savior of us. And what if you become just as bad as the thing we're fighting against?
yeah,
So,
she's definitely not a believer. I'm trying to edge what
yeah.
I say about her character development. But yes, you're
Yeah.
100%
Well,
spot
that's what I'm saying,
on.
without spoiling, I think her overall character arc is it's like she's not blindly believing he's the prophet, like some people are,
No,
and not her.
no,
So
yeah, she's not. She's in fact the only time that she really has to kind of go along with the whole prophecy bullshit shit is she kind of gets forced into it. You know what
yeah.
I mean? She kind of gets Jedi mind tricked, so to speak, into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no,
He's not in it. I'm just gonna keep popping up actors, but
yeah, you're good, you're good.
surprisingly, I didn't know this because not a spoiler. He plays the Emperor, but like I think like anything, so many actors out there become parodies themselves. Nick Cage is actually a legit good actor. Sandler can be, and we just recently watched True Romance, and like so many people, I'm used to seeing Christopher Walken talking like this all the time
Yeah,
and acting a certain way, and
yeah,
he's not in it
there's
a lot. And this is like the least Walken that he's ever
yeah,
been. He
yeah.
actually,
He has that loud, bombastic voice.
yeah,
He has that quirky, funny voice, and then he has the low, quiet,
yeah,
commanding voice, and that's the one the last one that I
yeah.
mentioned. That's the one he utilizes throughout. So
And like you said, I haven't read the books and source material because I'm so used to like some people would call this Chris Gore would say this is a more like adult version of Star Wars. So I think Emperor, I think like Palpatine, I think some like cackling madman, I think some guys trying to take over the universe.
yeah,
This isn't that performance. This is a very subtle,
yeah,
very reserved performance, which I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but like that's what I
no,
like about this because you're so used to like the villain, the Emperor being some over the top like galaxy conquering maniac, and no, he's very like you said, he talks very low like this and stuff, and he doesn't get into it. He's not screaming and stuff. He's not some
yeah,
ranting maniac, and
yeah.
he's maybe in the film 15 minutes, but
Yeah,
you know,
very subdued performance for sure.
yeah,
If I was going to contrast him to anybody from Star Wars, I might say he's more of a Grand Moff Tarkin from A New Hope,
that's
if anything else.
that's fair. Yeah, not bad analysis. Let's see. So Dune 2, Rebecca. So let's see. Let's pull in Paul's mommy. So yeah, she's got a lot more to do. And well, I mean,
Yes.
I think she's definitely in this more than part one, and
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
she goes through a character transformation.
Big
So
time.
not
Big
sure how
time.
much we can spoil, but obviously from part one going into part two, she believes in her son. She's trying to coach her son. She's and her character changes from being like, well, she's not a wife anymore. She's a widow, and she can't do. She's got to help her son become the prophet.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I can say about without ruining too much of her character arc.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna wait for you to give the green light before we start saying spoiler shit.
Let's see. I forgot Batista. Same thing as part one. He's in the film for maybe 10 minutes and stuff. He doesn't do a lot. I mean, he's just a big brooding guy and shit. Like, for the lines he's given, he's fine. I don't think Batista, same thing as part one.
I was not happy with his performance in this one.
Okay.
He was very scary, and they minimally used him in the first one.
Yeah.
And he was very threatening. He kind of came off as a big buffoon in this one.
Mm.
And you get why, because of the Austin Butler character that pops up later. So of course they can't have him, but he kind of was like a bumbling, like a evil version of Drax the Destroyer from, like he's just running around screaming and just doing wild shit through the whole movie.
Yeah.
He's just, and even his boss fight at the end is, I mean, it's good, but it's not, it doesn't do anything. So he's so intimidating and scary looking, and pops up, and yeah, you can use him to a minimal effect. They used him to a minimal effect in Spectre, and also in the Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
And it was effective in both of those. But in this, I think Dave Bautista is good in small doses.
Yeah.
I think, you're saying he didn't have very much screen time. I think he had like 10 minutes too much screen time, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So he just kind of came across as like a bumbling buffoon.
Yeah, he doesn't do much. So yeah, of course, man, from part one and makeup job and just a fucking veteran actor, and you could say he steals every scene he's in, especially in part two, because part two we see him a lot more with this fucking makeup. Like, god damn, what a great fucking makeup job. And boy,
yeah, he's the older Skarsgård, right?
Yeah, Skarsgård, man, that guy's just got like that.
Which one is he? Is he Stellan, right? Is
he
Stellan?
He's got that fucking commanding presence and stuff. Yeah,
Stellan
he's the dad.
Yeah, I liked his character in this. I liked what he did. It was very surprising. Everything that he did was kind of a surprise with the things he does, especially as it relates to Austin Butler.
Yeah. And obviously him wearing a fat suit, but the fat suit was very fucking just very believable too. It didn't feel like
yeah, it's a weird thing. And you know what? I appreciate the fact that they didn't have some kind of stupid exposition of them like, oh, the reason why the Master Harkonnen has to be in the tub of goo is because of this. And he was, it's like they don't need to say it. And it's like, he has to be kind of lifted around.
Yeah.
It's, whatever, it doesn't matter. Maybe he was injured in battle and now he's kind of like a big old, fat blob, and, he can't move around and stuff. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like it makes him more of a disgusting, evil character and sinister. I'm good with it. Like, I'm so glad. I was kind of bracing myself because so many movies do that. And Denny, how do you say his last name?
Villeneuve.
Denny Villeneuve definitely did not do that. I really appreciate that. I don't like to be ham-fisted information and a bunch of, because there's already so much expositional stuff that has to happen in a sci-fi movie. I'm so glad there wasn't some dumbass throwaway scene. Oh, the Emperor Harkonnen has to bathe in the mud, and you can't speak to them that way because he's crippled from his war in the Battle of Perseus.
Yeah, it's like he just is. Simple
he just is. He's just this, I like it.
I'm sure in the book too, that's the thing. Like, not even spoilers, but I know, like, listening to other book enthusiastic people, like even Chris Gore would say, technically speaking, come on, okay, this is overall a 5-hour movie. If you wanted to do the proper, which you would have the budget, a proper Dune, you have to fucking make 10 1-hour episodes. It'd have to be a 10-hour saga. So,
so you think it would have worked better as
no, I'm just saying, like, but I mean, people that will get nitpicked, like you said, people, if you want to know the backstory, I'm sure a book reader would probably, there's so much stuff they have to condense out. So like, that right there is probably an entire chapter in the book that they couldn't they hadn't have time for and stuff. So
I'd like to talk to a book reader just to I tried to talk to a few people in the audience. By the way, my theater was packed, by the way. I'm gonna throw that out here now. I'm kind of out of order of the things I wanted to say, but the theater was packed at 3:00 in the afternoon, and everybody that was in my row, I was like, hey, did you guys like leave work early to get here? And everybody was a resounding yes. Everybody got off work because they didn't want to get slammed in the later showings.
Yeah.
So
well, too, is being a book reader, the thing with Reacher, it's like, imagine, we get Reacher one season, we get 10 episodes versus like trying to imagine putting one Reacher book into an hour-and-a-half film.
Yeah, no, I think that most books, especially books that are series, I think they should have a TV series like Justified. I think Justified did really well with which ironically those are actually like small, like either short stories or single standalone books, the Raylan Given series. But my point is still, like, I think if you have something that's like a big series of books, it should have a series of a good show on HBO, kind of like what Game of Thrones did before it shit the bed at the end.
Yeah. So, well, like Anthony too, the problem with something like Dune is, but like also with the special effects, these kind of special effects, there wouldn't be a budget to have 10 1-hour episodes neither. So you may get more fleshed out storyline, but you're not going to see the sandworms at this level of detail.
That's true. That's true. It is pretty exquisite to see it on the big screen.
So on both showings, especially my first one was sold out, this one's pretty packed, and he got a lot of laughter because he's a fucking veteran actor. Javier Bardem plays Saladar.
Yeah, he got a lot of laughs.
He did.
You go first. I'll go second.
Oh no, I said both showings. I said he got a lot of laughter, and that's just a fucking veteran actor. And he didn't, again, part one, have much to do because he was only in it for a couple of scenes. He's got way more screen time in this one. His basic character arc is he blindly, for good, for better, for worse, he blindly believes in Paul. He blindly believes that Paul is the prophet, and he would do anything, even sacrifice his own life for Paul and for the cause. And people like that can be very good, but also very dangerous, and they can get themselves killed. He's I think it's hard for me to say my favorite actor in this movie because everyone puts on their A game. On a second viewing, he may be my favorite part of Dune 2. I mean, he's so fucking good, man. Like,
a lot of his stuff got laughs. I was surprised. I was also surprised how much his accent seems to have gotten thicker in the last 10 years, some kind of way. I don't know. I don't really know what to make of that. But yeah, him playing Stilgar.
It's Saladar.
Yeah, he's pretty much like
Stilgar. Wow.
Yeah, it's Stilgar. He's pretty much, in the hero's journey. He's the old wise man. He's the Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's the Morpheus. In fact, Morpheus is a pretty good description of what he is. He's like a funny Hispanic Morpheus, where he just blindly believes that Paul is the one.
Yep. I never thought about that, calling him Morpheus. Fuck, that's a good comparison.
Thanks. Well, I'm a writer. I liked every scene. He owns every scene that he's in.
Hands down, yeah.
Something. It's so dense and serious, this movie. His little quips and the funny shit that he does it releases some of the tension, but at the same time, he's a very serious type actor. He's sort of our spirit guide into this world of the Fremen. He makes the very alien, no pun intended, atmosphere of the Fremen. He makes it more accessible to us.
Yeah.
He makes it seem so in the same way that he's making it accessible to Paul, and to a lesser degree his mom, he's making it accessible to us. And then, of course, having Zendaya's character, Chidi, be his polar opposite, but at the same time, she never outdoes him or disrespects him in any way.
Yeah.
She challenges him a couple times, but she definitely defers to his wisdom. So he's sort of this spiritual guide, spiritual leader, and great warrior. And he's the Morpheus.
Yeah, that's what I like about the movie, because the Fremen people, and it's like he represents one faction of the Fremen, because the Fremen for most part are people divided in the sense that because in the first one, Duncan, which was Jason Momoa, said that there's millions of these people out there right now. Paul only has access to a certain amount because they're very divided. His faction, his people believe in the prophet, they believe in prophecy, they believe in the promised land, versus Zendaya it's like, her character arc is these guys believe in, like, our savior should be a Fremen. It shouldn't be an outsider. It shouldn't be an off-worlder.
Yeah.
So like you said, and Shawnee has no problem putting him in check the entire film because said he will blindly do anything to follow Paul. And she's like, well, I don't believe in that. And that's a very good, people, how they view religion. So, and
yeah, the longer that you are immersed in the thing like that, the more you will, and he doesn't believe it for no reason. As we'll get into, there's some really specific reasons why he is so into this prophecy. So it's not well, I'll leave it at that.
So I think my son's favorite character, and for me, a breakout star, and Drinker himself has said it. I know you're talking about, but again, I didn't see the first Dune, so I'm not sure. Actually, Sting played him in the first Dune, which I still haven't watched. It's been a long time, but does a very good fucking job of Austin Butler, and I only know him from being Elvis, and I know like Jeremy Jahns and even Chris Gore said it. It's not a parody, but like he does a very good Skarsgård impression where I try talking like my uncle.
Yeah.
A couple times you think it's Skarsgård talking, but it's him.
Did.
Yeah,
I did.
A fucking good job, man. But
he's in that other show you watch too, isn't he? Isn't he in the Masters of Air?
Oh yeah, you're right, shit. Because I'm thinking he's got the big right here. He looks like this and stuff. That's why it's hard to recognize him.
But he's in that show, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Shit.
Isn't he one of the pilots or something?
Yeah, I didn't make the connection right now because I'm so used to seeing him being Masters of the Air looking a lot different. Oh, plus, side note, he's coming up on I'll talk about later, but this new Tom Hardy film, which I can't wait to see. But yeah,
I don't know it, but okay.
Yeah, but no, Austin Butler, yeah. So he plays Thade, and he's basically the nephew for the Baron. And we first get to see him on the Baron's the home world of the Harkonians. This is a good picture right there. And yeah, they call him a sociopath.
Yeah. Yep.
And
he's definitely that.
He plays a very good bad pictures, but I think he plays a very good bad guy. He's not like he's not like some, again, these bad guys aren't over the top screaming eccentric bad guys. They're very subdued and they talk very specific.
Well, yeah, Bautista's kind of over the top.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, no, he's pretty frightening. He's definitely what you would think of when you think of like a killer. He's cold, calculated, and you really don't know a whole lot of his motivation. So yeah, his introduction is pretty incredible.
Yeah. And of course, I guess maybe trying to think who else is the main cast besides him, but I guess we'll get into. Well, actually, no, it won't be a spoiler because he was in the trailers, but we do have the return, which I was happy as hell to see, of Gurney Halleck, which is fucking the man himself right there. And he's in the trailers, so and plus people read a book, but that's not a spoiler. That Josh Brolin is back, and I loved him in the first one, and I swear the second one loved him just as much in the second one. He's not in it a lot, but he doesn't have to be. But when he's there, I think he makes a good impact when he's there.
I agree. He does.
And it's not even a spoiler, especially like going to the second one, he has a very, he's very loyal to Paul, very, very loyal to his family. And boy, he's pissed off about, you fuckers wiping out the whole Atreides bloodline and stuff. Because at this point, he thinks that Paul and his mother and everybody's dead. So when he finds out, Paul and everybody's not dead, he's very instantly shows he's still loyal to his family.
100%. Yeah, he's the good, the soldier that you want. I mean, he's the one that he 100% falls in line with Paul, and he's just like, okay, we're joining the Fremen, but this is what we're at, because this is like a career soldier, and he's like, oh, we're on the side of the insurgents now. Got it, bet, done. Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm with you 100%.
And it's too, he never one time in this fucking movie he ever argues with Paul. He doesn't backtalk Paul. He does anything Paul asks of him, and he's constantly giving Paul advice. But even if he doesn't agree with Paul, he still does whatever Paul needs of him every single time.
Yep.
Fucking Josh, and just again, Josh Brolin. I don't know much about the books, but I hope we get to see more of his character if they go forward because, guys, it's a big fucking cast, but like, man, I love Josh Brolin.
Yeah, so I would like that. Florence Pugh's character.
Pull up real quick. Yeah, I'm trying to.
A little bit.
Florence Pugh. Yeah, so she plays the Emperor's daughter.
Yes.
And she's right here. And she's also part of the she's being trained by I keep saying it's Bene Gesserit, the witches.
Yep,
so,
that's how it said. Yep, that's right.
and she's not in the film too much. I mean, like even like Drinker said, like with Christopher Walken, she has a
Yeah,
very
I don't think she has to be though. I
no,
mean,
I'm
I
just
don't.
saying, yeah, but
Yeah,
she maybe gets like what 10 minutes of her time. That's it.
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean,
okay.
she's good. Beautiful as always,
Huh.
captivating actress. I liked every scene that she was in. So yeah, and she's a good, she's a good plot contrivance. I mean, obviously she's been in other stuff where she plays, Black Widow's sister,
Mhm.
Yelena, and that those are kind of over the top performances, both
Yeah,
in the Hawkeye show and the
yeah,
Black Widow
cool.
movie.
I
She's
can put
she's a little over the top.
I can bitch about
She's
that picture right there. So
Yeah, she's pretty subdued in this. She's exactly what she needs to be. She's like a regal beauty.
yeah,
So,
she's very like diplomatic. You know, and
yes,
she's taking
yes.
notes and stuff about what's going
She
on. So
does, yeah, and her talking into her journal gives us the exposition that we need. So
yeah,
like, instead of big exposition dumps, it's her talking into her journal. I've heard it said by people who have read the book that there's a lot of like inner monologue stuff that happens in the books, and that's
yeah,
hard to convey. So like people speaking into journals, or like in the first movie when Paul was watching the instructional tapes or whatever they're called,
mm,
that's sort of the exposition dumps,
okay,
if that makes sense to you.
gotcha. Yeah, let's see. That's pretty much, I think, the main cast, and so we'd save. I guess that's it. We'll just save last but not least because we'll do one spoiler cast member later because even Drinker said it, and I'm like, I don't know if it's kind of a spoiler for someone being in a film for 20
Well, then
seconds.
just announce the spoiler
Yeah.
mark now.
So, well, I'd say, well, we'll get into what before we do that. Last but not least, right there, the man himself. So, boy,
Yeah.
it's like it's hard without. I will say this, yeah. Dune 1 is he's definitely younger. He's more of kind
Yeah.
of like a spoiled brat in a sense. He
Yeah.
can fight, obviously, through Jason Momoa's character and Gurney. He does know how to fight, but he's just like a guy that watched his whole family get fucking slaughtered and just trying to like basically stay alive. And
Yeah.
of course, his mother, hears about these prophecies and stuff, and like these saviors. He doesn't believe in it. With part two, we get into like, all right, he's kind of accepting that he may be the leader. He may be like what the savior of like mankind and stuff and the Fremen people, but he's very unsure of himself. And damn sure not a Gary Sue. He struggles a lot, and
Yeah.
he does have like some people. I think Chris Gore would say this. They consider Paul to have like a Anakin Skywalker type like journey. I don't agree
Okay.
with that in a sense. I don't think he's anywhere near Anakin's level of like going to the dark side. I think he's just somebody that needs to get shit done. But you do see, even from this film, the a different version of Paul with the first 10 minutes to the last 10 minutes of the film. And he has to. He's got to go on a big journey and stuff. But he's constantly second guessing himself. And I can't blame the guy because at this point, he's like maybe, I think the first film, 16, 17 years old. He's like 20 in the film. And just, imagine being 20 years old and like, hey, listen, your entire family was wiped out. You may be the prophet of like a 2 million Fremen people. You're supposed to be prophesized to like save, like, save the universe. And it's all on you, kid. Like, how do you
Yeah.
deal with that shit? So,
I would say that timeline wise, although it's a little vague, we do know that this movie, the beginning of it takes place immediately, like 20 minutes after the first movie. So
oh,
he's the same age at the beginning of this movie. Now, how long is
yeah,
the
that's a part. Yeah.
events of this film? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
No more than months though. So he's
Hmm.
still a very young man.
Yeah, and again, it's not spoilers. I wouldn't consider it that, but like it's in terms of condensing a story. I know, like I said, like Chris Gore would say that the entirety of Dune takes place over the course of years, and this is more like the course of, like you said, months. Months pass by versus years passing
Yeah.
by, which is fine
Yeah.
because like people don't know this with Lord of the Rings. When Frodo leaves the Shire, 18 years passes by. In
Oh,
the
I didn't
film,
know that. I
in,
didn't
in
know
the
that.
film, when Frodo and at the end of Return of the King, Frodo's like, "Yeah, we were gone for 18 months because like Peter
Oh,
Jackson."
wow.
Peter Jackson didn't want to make a trilogy about an 18-year fucking saga.
Sure.
So 18
Sure.
months made a lot more sense with the actors. So,
I would
you
say
know,
that then in this instance, I would say it's probably pretty similar with
yeah,
this.
that's what I heard because so like Paul, because like him spending time with the Fremen inside the books, I guess is like multiple years versus like, yeah, like, said maybe 5 or 6 months goes by during the course of
Yeah.
this film, which I don't think is a spoiler. It's trying to condense a very long fucking story. That's, whatever, 1,000-page book or something. So,
I would say that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
yeah. And no, and he does like, I said, I would say the first half of the film, he has a different character tone than the second half of the film, but it's also very, I would say very believable. And Drinker and everybody said that as well. They're worried about, if you need to become the leader, if you need to become a commanding person, it's like Timothy Chalamet doesn't seem like the kind of type of guy that could do that. He seems just very, timid. Willy Wonka, he's good at. The first film, he's kind of like a shy Paul, a spoiled brat kind of fucking Paul. This guy, nothing about him looks like the savior of mankind.
No.
So.
Yeah. Man, I would probably liken his development in the second movie to kind of Jon Snow, but without turning into a simp for his queen at the end. You know what I mean? It's like if Jon Snow had not become a simp, that's the development that he has just in the second. So the development that like Jon Snow has from season 1 all the way to season 7 is basically what you get with Timothy Chalamet's Paul Atreides character. He has so many names in this movie too. So I'm just gonna say Paul.
He's Desert Mouse and Jesus Christ.
I don't like this guy either. He is not an actor that I follow. I don't see the hype behind him. I don't get it. But I'll tell you what, he made a believer out of me in this film. He is electric in this film. Every scene that he's in, he commands. He's a commanding presence. And he's also one of the things I wrote down and took notes. His character development, the reason why he does so well, he manages to come across as both practical and humble, even in the face of being like, hey, you're our Messiah, you're this, you're that. He has so many different names and so many different things. And like even the name that he picks for himself, the Desert Mouse, is self-deprecating and stuff like that. And even when he's doing these amazing things, he downplays it. He makes sure to tell the people when they're going like flying off the handle, he's like, no, until the point, and we'll talk about this more later, to when he needs to play on that. And then he does. And when he does, he goes whole hog with it. So now again, is there going to be a third movie? Is there more to the story? I know there's another book that deals with him. Well, there's several books, but I know there's another book that deals more with his story. So and I'm gonna guess that this movie's gonna do so well that they'll probably do it. So what that will mean for the next one, I do not know. Then he might actually follow an Anakin Skywalker type thing. I really don't know. But in the scenes that he's in, he's very sincere. You can see the turmoil that he's facing. He's having these visions and he's going through all of this stuff, and it's definitely a character. And like you said, he goes through so much. You want to see your hero suffer, because if your hero doesn't suffer, if Riggs doesn't get tortured for the information about the shipment, if John McClane doesn't have to walk through glass, if your hero doesn't suffer, then who gives a shit? And this kid suffers a lot through this. Every victory that he has is very hard won and takes hold. So Chalamet knocked it out of the fucking park. Great job, man. I'm so happy with this.
100%. There's not much more can say to that. And like I'm trying to look up the freaking dozen names. I know like one title that Saldar calls him is like Usul. At some point, the people call him like the Lisa Ann Ghalib. They call him the Prophet. They call him the Muhammad or something. Yeah, he's got like 9 titles.
He's got like 9 names in it. So yeah, it's crazy.
The Muaddib. It's like, I guess it's Arabic and stuff. But yeah, they have and like I said, and then he gives himself his official title too is based on the friggin' Desert Mouse, which is funny because like what's his name? Javier Bardem's character is like, that's like, don't think it's that's not like a bad thing. It's like Stilgar is like a desert mouse, is like, it's very smart, intelligent. It creates its own water and stuff. And so it's like his endless fucking titles. We got some time before we start killing spoilers. So I guess we did the cast and stuff. What is the overall plot of Dune 2? Now for me, it's like, I would say Dune 1 is basically the Emperor betrays the House Atreides. They show up there, they kill everybody, and Paul and his mother have to escape, and that's basically the plot of Dune 1. Some people say political, but like it's the Harkonians wiping out the House of Atreides. Now, the Emperor, we know that the Emperor sent them. We're still unsure why, but that's the basic plot. If anybody asks me what's the plot of Dune 2, the plot of Dune 2 is now like Paul Atreides, his rise, and now him like coming with the Fremen people and now fighting back against the Harkonians for wiping out his bloodline. I'm not sure like what else the basic plot of Dune 2, because Dune 2 is more like Game of Thrones, and Dune 1, but Dune 2 is not as Game of Thronesy, but like it's kind of like more like
most of Dune 2 sort of is a Lawrence of Arabia type
okay.
film. You've got this, royal type character going out into the desert, becoming, ensconced and embedded with the insurgents, with the rebels,
Yeah.
and fighting this much larger, more technically efficient and advanced power. So a lot of this film is just basically Paul, overcoming one hurdle to the next, but all in the service of one main goal. His main goal being to, revenge himself upon both the House Harkonnen and of the Emperor, who ultimately is the one that betrayed him. And through the course of those events, his best tool with that is, of course, the Fremen, and he becomes more of not only a spiritual leader, but an actual like tactical leader in taking down this much larger force. He lends to them a lot of his technical knowledge, strategic knowledge, and of course, maybe the most important thing when you have an insurgency fighting a much larger power, he's sort of this spiritual spearhead. They believe in him, hence why they fight so hard for him. So that's mostly what this is about. It has a couple twists and turns, but none of them are forced or unbelievable. One of them did give me a little bit of a surprise, but I didn't feel like it was forced. But yeah, he kind of, by the end of the picture, Paul knows who he is, if nothing else. Now, whether that's good or bad is completely open to interpretation. But he definitely gets to, at least to a degree, accomplish his goals. So he starts out the movie as a fugitive and kind of ends it as like this high-level warlord.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's much of a spoiler, but because the entire film isn't on Dune or actually Arrakis, so we do get to see the Harkonian homeworld, which is called Gate of Prime, and I mean that's just part of the film. We can't talk about nothing about it, but I do like the black and white tones of Gate of Prime and see where Harkonians come from, and also the Harkonians. Yes, they're all basically they all look the same. They're all obviously very
they're like the albino from Banshee.
Pretty much, yeah. They have no body hair. They're all shaven, and they're a very barbaric people, to say the least. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what we can talk about besides that with the plot. I mean, it's without getting to too many spoilers.
For a movie that's so dense and rich in all this different kind of sci-fi world building and stuff like that, the plot is not super complicated.
No, I mean, yeah, because
it's not even. It's like season 1 or 2 of Game of Thrones. Like it's not super difficult plot heavy. It's not like I don't know. I mean, I didn't feel. I don't know how you felt. You've seen it twice. I've only seen it the once. But I don't feel like there was at any point where I was confused about what was going on or which faction was working with what, or it all seemed pretty clear to me.
Yeah, I think Sid said it's like anything. The first one, it's when we have different names because people like you're not used to hearing names like Atreides, Harkonnen, Arrakis, things like that. Once you understand the names, like you said, that's what it said. The basic plot is Dune 1 have an emperor. He sends the Harkonians, his goon squad, to basically wipe out House Atreides because Paul had a very good father, and his father was loving. We have this stuff called spice, and you see it in the opening crawl. Spice is this giver of life. It helps people check out different aspects of space, and spice is like the most used commodity in the whole universe. And then we have the Fremen. The Fremen are the native people, and like you said, it's not like a hard. I mean, yeah, it's been done before. It's like a stranger in a strange land. It could be Lawrence of Arabia. It could be like Paul's a prophet. It's a Messiah. It's very religious. These aren't like really complex themes that we haven't seen before. So it's not too hard to even Game of Thrones said season 1. Remember the Starks and Lannisters. If you know that, you're good. That's all you need to know.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good estimation. You keep in mind that this was written in 1965 in the middle of the Vietnam War. So you can see a lot of indications of that. Now, of course, I bring it down to my knowledge of war, which is Iraq and Afghanistan, and the Fremen people do seem very Muslim insurgents type, people with their religious beliefs, and of course being in the desert and the way they fight and attack and things like that. but you could see where the author Frank Herbert was coming from, having this much larger force attacking this small insurgency type people who kind of live off the land and sneak and hide and things like that.
Yeah. So I just showed the picture right there. So I figured a good way to kill some time is we'll talk about a budget special effects, $190 million, and I did watch Dune 1 again, a re-release for my kid a couple weeks back in IMAX. I watched this twice in IMAX and then RPX. Damn sure I like RPX, but IMAX is the better experience.
Oh yeah, I bet it was.
Yeah. And like even like Critical Drinker said, some films are made to be filmed in IMAX. The sound and the special effects, I could tell anybody with my review as well, is that if you have a chance, this film was made for fucking IMAX. And with a budget of $190 million, I'm like Lucasfilm and Marvel and Disney. When you see a film like this and you say, hey, listen, we spent $200 million, a film like this, I believe it. If anything,
it's all on the screen. Yeah, there was no money laundering.
No,
go ahead.
No, you're right. That's what I was going to say. Like, there's nothing. If they would have said they spent $400 million on this film, I would have believed it. Like the fact that they only spent $190 million seems low compared to what the shit I've seen.
It does. Every nickel that they spent into this is up on the screen. And after reading some, you were worried when you read about possibly Zendaya getting a bigger character than she really deserved. My thing that I was worried about was reading that Denis Villeneuve was going to turn it into a like just a big like visual spectacle and not have as much plot, dialogue, and things like that. But I was definitely very happy to see how they did that. He did not. Yes, it's very visually stunning and stuff like that. I'm not saying it's not, but it's not one of those things where it's all visuals all the time and then no story. Because it's got a lot of story to it. Not a lot of plot, but a lot of story, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Even small shots like this. I mean, obviously, like Lance said, and it's 2024, COVID was an issue and stuff, but I'm not expecting anybody to film 30,000 extras right there. I can imagine it's probably 5 guys, but the digital shots are so fucking believable and plus they're smart to show it from a wide shot angle. Damn well there's not that many extras, but like a shot like that, if you spent money, that looks like there actually is 30,000 people there cheering on Paul Atreides. It's like
I believed it. Yeah, I totally believed it.
And with the Harkonian worlds too, the Harkonian, when you get to see their world and stuff, there's this film does have some pretty decent sized battle sequences, but you can tell these guys weren't getting like 100,000 extras, but when you see 100,000 characters on the screen, you feel like they're actually there. So and so by far my favorite shot of the movie, which I'll say not a big spoiler, but like I want a screenshot of this shot, just Paul Atreides watching an explosion. It's so fucking awesome. Let's see. Sound design. Did you like this? I mean, definitely for me, IMAX, but like sound design.
I was in a regular theater, and it was. I was rocking in my seat, and especially some of the sandworm scenes and some of the explosion scenes.
Yeah,
it was vibrating the whole place. So, and then some of the battle scenes. So I can't even imagine what it must have been like in a. Regular theater. It must have been crazy.
When it was an IMAX, a couple points like
IMAX rather, yeah.
I was in a fucking third row and a couple times I'm just like checking my ears because like you said, every time you see a sandworm or explosion, you're full fucking holy shit, like Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, you feel it.
No, I'm saying even I was in a regular theater, even I was like rocking in my seat. So I can't even imagine what IMAX must have been like.
Yeah. He definitely he spared no expense. Yeah, dude. And well, last but not least, I think it's not even a spoiler, but like, I was texting a friend of mine that guys, call it what it is, right? Sometimes when we see people like, if you have a white Middle Eastern regional area in olden days and stuff, and you insert black characters, makes no sense. In retrospect as well, Paul, his mother, characters like Gurney, Poe Dameron from Leto, everybody from the first film, they're off-worlders. You have a place like Arrakis, and Arrakis is obviously a big desert planet with a desert climate. So people from this freaking world should look like Zendaya, Javier Bardem, some black people, some Middle Eastern people. You're not going to see somebody with fucking red hair and freckles and green eyes in the planet of Arrakis. It would not make any fucking sense.
No.
So the casting job, very good. And I know it's damn sure a second time watching it that yes, if you had like a all Middle Eastern cast being on Arrakis, that makes total sense considering it's a fucking desert environment.
Yeah.
So
no, 100%. And I guess you said Poe Dameron. You mean his
yeah.
dad,
Oscar Isaac, yeah.
Oscar Isaac. I went to high school with him.
Yeah, you told me that before, so
Yeah, his name's Oscar Hernandez. He's actually I think he's like Cuban or something like that. So yeah, he doesn't look anything like that. But yeah, I was in high school.
Some people were bitching because of was it Sean Young? Sean Young was the first Shawnee in the first Dune. And the thing is, yes, break it down. Technically speaking, if you have Arrakis, Zendaya is what you would look like if you lived in Arrakis. So I gotta admit, it's like Sean Young, someone with her complexion, she wouldn't last more than like a week in that fucking environment.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, so
no, because it's not just the sun, the you soak it up. When you should have seen what I look like in Iraq, even me being blonde hair, blue eyed, I was like, you're almost always covered in dirt or sand anyways.
Yeah.
So, especially got a beard and
Well, and that's the thing with the Harkonians. So, yeah, the Harkonians, they all look a certain way based on their home world. That's why all the Harkonians look that fucking way. They're all they're albinos, but freaking because based on their climate and stuff too. There is some sun out there, but it seems like a very rainy, dreary kind of fucking planet where these guys probably get like 5 minutes of sun a day. That's why, I mean, obviously, Irish people in Ireland, the fucking country's always raining. That's why they're not dark complected for it.
Right.
So
exactly. I appreciate that, Denny Villeneuve. Good job.
Yeah, and that's the problem people nowadays. When the first Dune was announced, like, oh yeah, these guys are going fucking woke because they're showing Zendaya being Chani. It's like, well, if Chani was raised in Arrakis, that's what she would look like. So maybe it's not woke. Maybe the first film had some flaws.
Right.
So,
I hear you.
I mean, we did a good 50 minins. Anything else you can really think about? I mean, honestly, we covered, I think, every aspect of the film.
Yeah.
I figured.
I'll give my final thing after we do our spoilery talk, but. Yeah, no, I mean, there's I don't know if you can pull her up. There's another character, Zendaya's little friend.
Oh yeah. I know who you mean.
You already know what I'm gonna say, don't you?
Yep.
So yeah, her little friend, I don't even know if I can pronounce this right. I think it's Shishaki. That might not be right, but and her real name is even worse. It's her real name is Sohelia Yakub. Oh my God, that's crazy. I don't even know how to.
Found her. Okay. Yep.
You got her.
Yeah. So Helia Yakub. Yeah.
Oh, is that how you say it? Okay.
Well,
so.
Well, that's how you pronounce it right there. So Helia Yakub, but it's like there's no picture for Dune.
So yeah, Chani's little buddy.
Yeah.
She, if you're looking for a female protagonist or antagonist, whatever you want to call her, to not like, that's on the Fremen side, she really takes up that role. So I think by default, she actually helps make Zendaya more likable because she's so unlikable. I actually got a giggle when her fate came up, near the third act of the movie.
Yeah.
So she was so obnoxious. Oh my God! Like everything out of her mouth was. Like talking shit about Paul and, causing all these problems. Even after she sees the dynamic between Chani and Paul, she's still running her mouth like, Jesus, man, she was, oh man, what a wet blanket. But yeah, other than that, and I'm not even going to complain about her because I think she was designed that way, for that reason. So yeah, no, without, again, I'll just, let's not do like a whole play-by-play, but just give the broad strokes, not because of spoiler stuff, but just because it's, I don't want to make this dreary and tell every single bit of the plot. Like,
Well, no, I think we cover as much as we can. Like I said, right now it's still early, Rotten Tomatoes 95%. It still isn't out yet. So we're not going to see what the box office is yet, but still, technically speaking, we're doing this on Thursday. Technically speaking, the film came out today, even though I got access to early screening. So
how did you get access to it early?
Regal Cinema.
What is it? What is it? I don't know. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, yeah. There's this app that it's a Regal Unlimited. Also, I have this nice good Pepsi cup right here, or cup of Pepsi. Also, I bought this T-shirt right here, and it's in my kids' review too. I bought a Regal popcorn bucket for Dune and a Regal cup soda bucket for Dune, and thank you, Regal. Also today, Regal has RPX. He sent me a notification on my phone. Hey, Chris, if you want to, there's a free RPX upgrade. So, and also a free ticket.
Wow.
So I seen Dune 2 today for $22, and I didn't pay a fucking penny for it.
Wow. How much do you have to pay a month on that?
It's only $24.95 a month.
$24.95 a month, blue collar? That sounds like a good deal for the Regal Unlimited app.
Let's see if I can pull. I should be able to pull up a picture. I should be doing this stuff already.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that. Just,
Unlimited.
We're trying to promote you. So if you're looking for sponsorship, yeah, we're looking for sponsors, Regal app. So I also have the Regal app. I do not have the VIP thing that you have. I think they took like $1 off my popcorn and $1 off my ticket. And that's fine. I get points and stuff like that. So yeah, I have like the basic bitch subscription, and I think you have the platinum. You have the highest level subscription for it.
The worst picture. I'm trying to get a good picture.
That's all right. I think I think you understand what we're trying to do here, don't you, Regal app?
I appreciate you guys helping me out. So yeah, other than that, so seen Regal, got my t-shirt, and pretty much all I can think about. I mean, we got a couple minutes and we'll start getting to spoiler territory, but
so you want to start spoiling at the 1 hour mark?
I think it's pretty good at, and so we'll give our assessment, because this is this is our little bar thing. So what was it? We talk about if stuff's at the bar, lower the bar, above the bar.
Yeah, I definitely I feel I'll touch more on this when we do our final analysis.
Yeah.
I feel I had this premonition, much like Paul's premonition in the movie. I have a premonition that this movie is going to herald in good movies again. I think that they're going to say, I think this movie's going to kick ass at the theater, because it was like 3:00 in the afternoon in Kansas and the theater was packed. So, and I got out of the theater before anybody else, and I was polling the people. I had my little notepad and stuff with me, and I was like, "Hey, what'd you think of the movie? Hey, what'd you think of the movie? Hey, what'd you think of the movie?" And it was all positive across the board. Yeah. Everybody was so happy. Now, of course, I didn't sit and interview every single person, but just did a broad strokes analysis, and people laughed where they were supposed to laugh. They gasped where they were supposed to gasp. They cheered when they were supposed to cheer. I kind of thought there might be a standing ovation at the end of it.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if I went to a showing tonight and watched it, if that's not what would happen. But I will tell you, me personally, I do not like to be in a crowded theater. I don't like it. People get out of hand. They start doing and saying shit. I've seen those YouTube videos where people watched Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War. I would not want that. I don't want that kind of movie experience. I don't like that many people that close to me. I don't dig that. I was very happy, but I will tell you, it wasn't shoulder to shoulder packed, but it was for a Thursday afternoon at 3:00 in the afternoon in a small Kansas town. That theater was jam packed for that kind of time. So I am super excited.
Okay. Well, I'll say it so. I figured we'll give our recommendations and how we feel about the film, and if people want to head out the 1 hour mark, they can. If they want to keep watching the video, we'll spoil the fuck out of it for half hour. And if they want to just kill it the 1 hour mark, we'll say yay or nay, and that's it. I think it's a pretty good assessment. So for me, I'll go first. I'll say for me, hands down, I saw this movie twice, and I do want to see Deadpool 3 for what it is. I like stupid shit like Kong versus Zilla. I want to see the new Henry Cavill film. But I can honestly say that for 2024, I do not see, for me, anything beating this out. This is my damn sure my film for 2024. I'm probably going to fucking see it a third time. I would recommend it to anybody. Damn sure if you can, see this shit in IMAX. And I'm looking forward to, as other people said, from Jeremy Johns to Chris Gore, when it comes on digital, I do want to have a sit down and just watch it as one fucking 5 hour film, just because one goes right into part 2. So
nice.
I would highly recommend this fucking film to anybody. And truth be told, as I said in my review, I am actually happy, because people were worried, they're pushing this back until 2024. I'm glad they did, because I have nothing else this fucking year to look forward to. So thank you for pushing it back this year, because if this came out in November, December, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about this shit.
Yeah.
So
I'm not even going to talk that long. I don't have that much to say except for, above the bar. Way above the bar. This is the best movie I've seen in years. I think this is going to go down as another sequel that outdoes the original. I think this far outdoes. Yes, you have to have the original because of
Oh
it. But
yes, definitely.
I think this like so far surpasses the original, and I could not be happier with it. I will go see it again when I get a free second, and I will definitely watch it when it's on streaming platform.
Yeah, and my kid felt the same way. I think you have to watch part one, obviously, and part two. I do like part one, damn sure watching it again. And the more you watch part one, you get a feel for it and a love for it. I do like this one better, but it's not saying like, it's like you said with Jack Reacher. Like I love season one. I still like season two. I like season one a little bit better. But like with Dune, I love Dune 1, but I like Dune 2. Come on, I love Terminator, but I like Terminator 2 better. Simple as that, So I think this is a better film than part one, but it doesn't mean part one's a bad film because at the end, it's still 1 5-hour movie, technically.
Yeah.
So
all right. So if you don't want to hear any other spoilers, we're not going to go too long. I think, what do you think? 20 minutes ought to cover it, right?
That, yeah. But overall, so we say, hey, fuck it, raising the bar, and glad I got to see it. I'm glad we did this. So if you want to head out, guys, head out right now, and we'll give it a second, and we'll start breaking down spoilers because there's a lot to spoil.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And 10, 9, 8, 7, last chance.
All right.
6, 5,
Let me find
4, 3, 2. You got a big spoiler thing you're gonna pop up?
I should have found one actually. I'll get that for next time. All right. So
all right. You have been warned. You have been warned. If you are still here, then you want to hear about the story and you don't give a shit that we're gonna spoil it. All right. Here's the deal.
Well, off the bat from me. Here's one spoiler for a lot of people. Bam, that right there.
Yes. God, what a weird looking chick. That's Paul's sister that's still in the womb of Lady Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently the Duke managed to knock her up before he got killed in the first movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, come on, you can't blame him. Rebecca
I can't blame him. Can't blame him.
Hershey Poe Dameron.
So yeah, she shows up in a quick dream sequence, but she's a decent enough character throughout the film, even being in the uterus, because she plays a pretty big character. The mom is weirdly psychically talking to her the entire time.
Now, one thing.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I did hear Chris Gore say this that okay, book version versus film version for condensation purposes. I guess in the book she's born, she's a kid. Something happens, I don't get it, but the whole spice technology. But basically, by the end of the book, she actually ages up to match Paul. I'm not sure what the details, but so this one she's never born. She's only talked about through the womb, and Paul does see her in a vision with the future, which is Anna Taylor-Joy, which everybody's assuming. If we get a Dune 3, then whatever is going to happen, she's going to age up to match Paul's age.
Yeah.
So
I will be curious to see if they do Dune 3 and they put her in it, if they can make me a fan of hers, because I am not a fan of hers. She's another one that I feel like Hollywood is trying to push down my throat. The only thing I've liked her in was the New Mutants. That's the only thing I liked her in. I have not liked her in anything else that she's been in. Yeah, no, nothing. I don't think she's attractive. She has a weird face. She looks like an alien.
People have said that too. Actually,
she looks like an alien. I did see the trailer for Furiosa. That's one of the trailers I got, and that looks like a big fucking cartoon, man. I don't know if like the effects aren't done yet or something like that, but as grounded and realistic looking as Fury Road was, the Furiosa movie looks like a big piece of shit. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? So I don't think she's interesting. There's nothing about, like I said, I'm one of the few people who likes New Mutants, and I did like her in that, but that's it. That's it. She does nothing for me.
I mean, going forward, I put faith in so far, like you said, Chalamet and Zendaya, previous to Dune 1, Dune 2, I would say, fuck these guys. Now I'm like, all right, so
my only fear is like Dune 3, they're gonna like Denis Villeneuve will be like, hey, I did everything I wanted to do with part 1 and part 2, and then they give it to some fucking woke female director or some shit. I don't even want to put that kind of curse on there, but I mean, that would just be like my worst fear.
Yeah. So yeah.
But it's I'm not gonna do like we talked about before we went live. I don't want to do like a play-by-play and give you every.
No, that's what I mean. To me, she's like the biggest spoiler right now.
Yeah. So, well, I think the biggest spoiler, is we find out that Paul is actually a Harkonnen.
Did not know that. Yeah, didn't see that shit coming.
Yeah, Lady Jessica is actually the daughter of Stellan
Baron.
Skarsgård's
Yeah.
Baron Harkonnen.
Which I did like the scene. He's like, did you know this? And she goes, honestly, I didn't know until I drank the poison, the worm piss. And she didn't know
Yeah.
her damn self, which is like, so I guess that's a backstory. Like, how didn't you know that? How didn't you know your father was the fucking Baron? Like,
I don't know.
wow.
I kind of got the
Yeah.
impression that like this how do you say what the female psychics are?
Bene Gesserit.
I feel like the Bene Gesserit are kind of like the Jedi Council, and they like take the kids when they're very young and start training them to be these like
definitely
psychic witches.
Yeah.
That's kind of my impression of it, and so it's very possible. And then they kind of place the Bene Gesserit women because they have these psychic and sexual powers. They place them with men of power, men, like men that are going to be political importance and things like that.
Definitely. Actually, you know what? I'm not sure how much time we kill on that, but watching the film the first time and now damn sure second time, I've come to the conclusion, I could be wrong, but if you look at Dune 1 now, Dune Part 2, you know who the fucking main bad guys are in the saga? The fucking Bene Gesserit. If you actually watch the first one, because remember,
no doubt, no doubt.
And I don't know why, I just didn't like. I think it was the Harkonnens and the Emperor, but especially after watching Part 2 and seeing like the older woman who was in Part 1 talking to them, because like people maybe didn't pay attention. I didn't. The Emperor didn't actually want to kill Leto, and even at one point, Florence Pugh says that my father didn't want to kill Leto because he loved him, but the fucking Bene Gesserit told him to kill them. And
they're definitely the behind the scenes political machinations of this universe and stuff like that. And they do not have they don't have good intentions. They basically align themselves like with whatever power. Think of them as like a female cult version with psychic powers of like Lord Varys and Lord Baelish in Game of Thrones. They like align themselves with whoever has power. So one person we didn't talk about was oh God, how do you I'm gonna mispronounce her name here. Leia Seydoux from the James Bond movies. She wound up being the Daniel Craig James Bond's wife or baby mama, whatever you want to call her. She plays Margot Fenring, which is she's another one of the Bene Gesserits, and she kind of later on in the third act, she psychically manipulates and I guess gets pregnant by
Fade.
The Fayed's character.
Yeah.
So they're definitely the behind the scenes machinations, and a lot of Lady Jessica's motivations and things that she does is not, we're kind of designed to feel bad for her right from the beginning of the movie because she's out in this hostile environment world. She's trying to do her best to look after Paul, and she's pregnant. She doesn't. These are bad things for her. It's not a good situation. She has to kill a guy. We pick up right where we left off from the first movie, and almost immediately Paul has to kill a guy. He takes you down like lickety split, which is pretty cool considering the fact that he had only in the timeline of the movie he had only just killed his first guy 20 minutes before. And then she has to go in and like before Paul gets killed because he's got his back turned in a bad tactical error. She has to kill a guy. So she's showing very obvious signs of a tough pregnancy in a hostile environment, but at the same time she's trying to pull a lot of these machinations. So throughout,
I feel like her, she feels like the real fucking villain in both these films when you break it down.
Yeah, what do they call her? The mother?
Yeah, they call like she's the Reverend Mother, but of course,
Reverend Mother.
Jessica becomes a Reverend Mother on Arrakis, but she's the initial one. Which, if you actually again watch the first one, she's pissed off at Jessica because she says that she wanted a daughter because, like you're saying, when Florence Pugh gets impregnated by Thade, she goes, okay, like yes, it's a daughter just like you requested. The thing
it's not Florence Pugh, it's Leia Seydoux.
Because there's both of them, but but thing is they wanted Paul to be a female so they can control them because technically speaking the females always have that voice, that power, and that's what makes him such an abomination and so powerful because he's the first fucking male to have this power. And like at one point too, when he uses the power on her, remember at the end he's like quiet, and she's like, and she sits down, she's like, abomination, like and that's why he's so fucking powerful. But even in the second film, she's telling her, she's like, Florence Pugh's character, she's like, yeah, we've been fucking breeding these people and watching the Atreides for 90 generations, and they got too powerful. And this is why, like, there's other bloodlines. We have our hands in other bloodlines because they want to control the fucking galaxy from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of Dune, is the Emperor only fucking killed the Atreides because they told him to do that, because they're trying to manipulate the fucking bloodlines, which is pretty fucking dark, man. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, it kind of also reminded me of Game of Thrones, and as we're watching Shogun now, you see this house that in Game of Thrones it's the Starks, in Shogun it's Lord Toranaga's house. You see these other people aligning themselves against a popular house, a house that is kind of insulated and on its own. So these other ones want to attack it. It's kind of the same. It's the same thing in all three concepts. You know, you've got in Shogun, they're getting to Toranaga's family is getting too powerful. They don't like that, so the other ones align against him. In Game of Thrones, you have the other houses are worried that the Starks are, because they're such, like justice bringers, the land of the North, they're off by themselves, that they're going to mess up the machinations and schemes of the Game of Thrones. And then in this one, I guess, I mean, they don't implicitly say it too much, but the Atreides family is, they themselves become too powerful, and they kind of want them rooted out. So there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that's happening. This whole, from the very beginning of this movie, Paul's kind of Messiah thing, you wonder how much of it is contrived as a prophecy, and then they go, oh, look what he did. It's I like, it got some laughs when because Paul, God bless him, he's even from the very beginning, when Lady Jessica survives the worm piss drinking ritual, and they're like, oh, see, it's a prophecy, and Paul's just like, no, it's not a prophecy. Chill out.
She's been trained. Exactly.
She's been trained to do this. It's not that big a deal. And then later, when Paul rides the sandworm and he does this and he does that, he's very humble. And what's the first thing that Javier Bardem's character says? He's like, look how humble he is. That's exactly what the prophecy guy would say.
I was in a sold out theater in fucking Sunday, and the entire audience was screaming, laughing. Like,
yeah, they were really laughing at that. Even
he's
in
so humble, he doesn't want to admit that he's the prophet.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what a prophet would say. So it makes you see that, like, you have prophets or false prophets. If you believe enough, you can warp your reality. It's like how, like, people have Trump derangement syndrome. They can make any bad thing look like it's the orange man's fault. Or like, something like Waco, Texas. If he says, hey, Satan is going to have the government try to, like, come get rid of us, and then when the government, when he does stuff that causes the government to come take a look at them, then he's like, see, I told you, so it's kind of like without no pun intended, a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Well, that's one thing Shawnee says multiple times during the film. She's like, if you want to enslave people, control people, give them a prophecy.
Right.
And that's the problem. She's like, it's like, and she's worried about, being controlled because of this fucking prophecy. So
it kind of brought my mind to Book of Eli, which I just recently rewatched.
That's on the list. I fucking love that movie.
Yeah. And it's like, he looks at it as, this needs to be given to the world. And is God looking after him? Spoiler alert for a 15-year-old movie. Is God protecting him in that savage land, or is is it just coincidence? And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have Gary Oldman's character that's just like, hey, I want to use this. It's not a book, it's a weapon. Because you can make people believe what they need to believe at any given time. And again, that's another thing that makes me like Zendaya's character. She has faith in Paul himself, but not faith in the Paul Messiah, one of the many names that he has. Like, she's like, listen, and she even tells him at one point, hey, you stay true to yourself, Paul, and I'll still love you. It's all good. Unfortunately, that turns out not to be true, though.
I'll talk about just for a minute with you, because it wasn't a big thing, but like, I didn't feel like I like the fact that their love story, it was trying to think. It wasn't forced. It wasn't. They didn't spend too
It
much
was
time.
grounded.
Yeah,
It was grounded.
And they spent 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. I think totally like Paul and Shawnee, the entire film, they may have had like 20 minutes of their love story, but it wasn't drawn the fuck out. It's like they have
No.
5 minutes of dialogue, they go to Harkonians. 5 minutes of
Right.
dialogue, they talk
Right.
to like Gurney. So it at least it felt very natural, and it wasn't like some people worried it'd be some bullshit like YA, like fucking modern 2024 shit.
Well, I was worried it was going to turn into like
buddy.
Napoleon.
Yeah.
And oh, good.
That's
Yeah, that was good.
yeah, we're doing the spoiler sections. We already did our first hour.
Yeah, we are in the spoiler, but he said he just saw it, so it's all good.
So,
yes, he was.
yes, he was. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was worried because you saw Napoleon, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I was worried they were going to turn it into like his love for her, or like season 8, Jon Snow of Game of Thrones. Like, oh, I can't. That's my queen, and like, but it didn't. She, in fact, we'll get to that. Like, he doesn't choose her.
Yeah.
He kind of kicks her ass to the curb.
I'll do one not even nitpick. One observation I had was the scene right there. I did like the fact that how his uncle didn't poison one guy because he wanted to test him. What I didn't like was that these Harkonians, one girl's like, hey, it's all for show. You can't fucking have a Coliseum and you're weakening, you're poisoning your opponents. It doesn't make fucking badass.
They always do that.
What's I'm saying? It's like,
back in the Coliseum days, that's what they used to do.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I kind of like didn't have faith in his character, but like also I like the Skarsgård, the Baron. It's like, you know what? Then the last one, because the last guy, the Chinese dude, when he fought him, he was struggling. Like he beat him, but like that guy got some hits in. So,
oh yeah, no, that was great. Well, plus he shuts his shield off.
All right, buddy.
But yeah, up to that point, it was pretty much a one-sided thing. But again, that's how it was in Gladiator days. They'd have they'd have somebody. Yeah.
So yeah, of course. So I guess we'll kill comments and then we'll call it a wrap that because we want to get spoilers. So Paul himself, and I think, man, after watching a second time, like we said with Timothy Chalamet, we weren't sure how his Paul would be, and the course of the film, he's very unsure of himself. He's not, sure about the whole prophecy. He's constantly holding himself back because even telling Gurney, because Gurney's like, okay, what's going on with the Fremen? He's like, you have 200 Fremen? You've done this much damage to 200? He's like, well, Duncan said there's 1 million. Why aren't you utilizing these people? And he goes, well, I've had these visions, and it's this big thing because he's trying to tell everybody, like, I don't want to be a prophet because if I become the prophet, he's like, I'm going to see billions and billions of lives that I'm going to cause. So he's like, he's worried about, like, I may free the people right now, but long term, I'm going to cause this big fucking galactic war, and so many people are going to die because of me. And who the hell at 20 years old or 18 years old wants that kind of fucking pressure? Come on, man. So
well, it's that old adage, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. He sees from the very beginning that, hey, these people are very well, most of them anyway, they're very much religious. They believe in their cause, they believe in their prophecies and things like that. I could use this to my advantage, and he does. But also I don't want to misuse it. Whereas Lady Jessica, being the doubting mother, and the fact that she's a Bene Gesserit, and this is basically what she's designed for, she pushes the narrative that, that's it. He's your Messiah. He's the guy. And even the doubters, Paul slowly wins them over. And it's funny, like you say, and oh, look how humble he is. Of course he's the Messiah. The more things that Paul does, the more he builds, like, inadvertently, he fulfills it. So it kind of it begs the question: do we make our own destiny, or is there a destiny for us, and then we kind of fulfill that destiny?
I know. So, and not to mention, the thing is, like you said, absolute power. It's like, because even the first 10 minutes was like, your father, he didn't believe in revenge. Well, I do. And it's like, oh, it's like, because
Paul's not fucking around in this. Like, Paul is not fucking around. He's out for blood. And the stuff that he does in this movie, there's never a moment where it's just like, oh no, like everything about, hey, let me just, hey, do you yield? I don't want to hurt you. I want to be the good guy.
That was part one.
That all got left behind the last 5 minutes of part one. And in this one, he sees the brutal tactics. These guys, the Fremen, I cannot say enough. They're like really advanced insurgents. You know, when they take down an enemy, they take all their weapons, they take their equipment, they take their fucking water out of their body.
I'm glad you said that, especially in part
Yeah.
2. Every
Yeah.
time they had them things right there, I'm like, that's fucking awesome. These guys
Yeah.
are draining their body fluids out like
Yeah.
shit.
Nothing's going to waste. And even their own guy, like you see the guy that I guess his name is Giannis, the one that he beat in ritualistic combat, Paul beat in the first movie. They utilize him even to as like a decoy, as like a come on, like immediately, you know, the first 15 minutes of this movie, you know what time it is. Like everything that was like set up in the first movie, like they hit the ground running, they crank it up to 11 and they go full tilt boogie through the whole movie with this. Yes, it's a long movie. It's 3.5 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
But I never felt like, except for I had to get up and go pee once. I did not feel like it did not drag for me. Every moment was pretty fantastic. Even some of the slower wide shot epic things. The drinker said something about he didn't like the whole setup where they went to go raid the ammo dump or whatever. I didn't have any problem with that. That didn't seem
I disagree with that only in a sense because the showing showing what's like they said, like this, like 90 generations of Atreides, all their fucking they call them atomics, like all their atomic arsenal, how powerful this shit is.
Yeah.
You know.
So Paul he embraces the parts of him that is a smart tactician.
Yeah.
He embraces the insurgency way of life so that he can get his revenge. And he's humble enough to know the difference. And it doesn't hurt that Chani kind of, like I said, she keeps him in check a little bit, you know, because she can see where this can go. And not even because she believes in the prophecy, but she believes in what people will believe for the prophecy.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, listen, this could easily go a bad route, you know. And again, I liken these guys, the way that they pray, the way that they act, the way that they look, the way that they fight. They seem like, you know, Afghani or even Iraqi insurgents that I have fought. And in their tactics and the things that they do, it's very much a guerrilla war through most of the movie. And he definitely becomes the zealot that they need him to be. You know, he becomes their religious messiah. They're willing to, you know, body bomb somebody for him. If need be. Hell, even the Morpheus character of Javier Bardem is willing to give his life just so that Paul can speak to the council.
Yeah, I mean, he offers his life about 4 different times in this film.
Yeah,
which I still like. Paul, he's like, you know, like, that's the problem. Like, I'm not going to sit there and like give away my one of my best assets for your bullshit religion. So he just pushed back with that.
I
will say, because I don't want to kill too much time with this because it's a long fucking movie. After watching the second time, for me, and I'll ask you what your favorite was, by far my favorite fucking scene in the entire film. Paul at this point, the first hour, still kind of doubting himself. Once he fucking drinks the sandwort blood and the poisonous stuff, and then once Shani brings him back with her tears, mixes it in for the prophecy. And remember, Jessica tells me she does the voice. She's like, do it. She makes her do it. Once he fucking arises, then it's like Chalamet, and we're worried about could he play demanding badass character. When he arises after drinking that fucking blue stuff, now it's like you see a whole 180 where it's like, okay, now he's awoken. He sees all possible fucking futures like Doctor Strange. Now he's not fucking around. When he walks into that temple and gives the fucking speech, I'm just like, I got goosebumps. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, like, you know, I did too. And it's funny you phrase it that way because it's almost like you plucked that out of my mind because I was sitting in the theater I think I might even said a loud mumble to myself. I'm like, man, Paul's not fucking around anymore.
Yeah. And because first he's like, you know, like freaking nobody here can challenge me and stuff. One guy next, he walks up to a guy. He's like, yeah, remember? And right there, the whole fucking theater got quiet. He goes, okay, the part of your grandmother. He's like, you know, you're worried about what if I am the prophet? And he tells about his grandmother. And at one point, you know, this Arrakis used to have a different name. And once he says Dune, everyone lost their shit. Like, oh fuck, like this is the fucking Messiah. And like right there, he's like, I will lead your people to fucking victory. And like that entire sequence, I'm like, wow, yeah, Chalamet knocked out of the fucking park right there.
The lead up to that was very tense. I was worried that the scene from the trailer where he yells down the Reverend Mother Bene Gesserit with his voice was not going to get utilized or was going to get utilized differently, yada yada yada. We've all seen the memes. Oh, use the voice, and then they show some funny character from Police Academy, yada yada yada. I was a little worried about that, but the stuff leading up to that where he's just like, no, I don't want to go south. I don't want to, I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. And he's basically forced to, he has to kind of fulfill his destiny. And when you're right, when he goes into the temple and his number one guy, Javier Bardem's, what's Javier Bardem's name?
It's freaking Salazar. I keep forgetting. I should know it now. I keep saying that. Stilgar.
So when Stilgar is just like, look, hey, we want you to represent us, blah, 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 but our ways are this, and you can't force through the ways. And, Paul's like, I ain't trying to hear that shit. I'm, he brings all the best versions of himself. Once he learns how to utilize his powers, he's basically like, listen, okay, I'm a Fremen. It's almost like when Luke accepted the fact that he was Darth Vader's son, he became even more powerful because he realized that was his lineage. I am the evil that I'm trying to fight. So in accepting that, he goes beyond it. So he's just like, listen, okay, I'm part Fremen. Whoop-de-doo. Guess what? I'm going to use that for my advantage. Hey, we found a bunch of tactical nukes that my dad hid. Guess what? We're going to use that. Hey, the Fremen believe I'm their messiah. Guess what? I'm going to use that. Hey, my mom's been trying to get me to use this Bene Gesserit Jedi force power magic all the time, and I keep resisting using it. Guess what? I'm going to fucking use it right now. And he uses all the tools within his disposal in order to take down the enemies. And on top of that, his great, strategy and tactician techniques, he tricks the Emperor into coming to Dune, and and
fuck up.
Instead of it becoming a thing where he's fighting this long, drawn out war, he basically gets the Emperor to show up. I don't know if that's what the Drinker's talking about when he says, the antagonist makes stupid mistakes. If it is, then that's probably it. Beyond that, I don't know that once Austin Butler's character, these names are so hard, dude. Once
Fayed
jumps into the mix and he gets in there, he's pretty brutal. He basically does exactly what I would do. He's hitting them with, like they say, old-fashioned artillery. Well, why weren't you using that in the first place? I mean, they'd become too reliant on.
I think that at that point they'd know where they were at. That's why.
Well, okay, fair enough. But once Paul brings the end game in the third act, it basically becomes one of those things. And a line gets said by Josh Brolin's character. He's just like, was it Garney? How do you say it? Garney?
Gurney.
Gurney's like, my lord, let me take this guy on. You don't need to do this. And then and Paul's like, no, I'm doing it. And he takes on Fayed. It's another one of those instances where it just reinforces the zealot's belief in his prophecy. But again, Paul plays that when he needs to play that angle, but when he doesn't, like you said, he's not going to kill his number one guy and his spiritual leader. He goes in there and just says, you know what? I'm just going to use my magic force powers and read these people's minds and show them how, like, hey, you skinned your knee falling off your tricycle when you were 5. Oh shit. Okay. How do you know that? Your grandma died 14 years ago and she named you Plebus. Oh shit. How did he know? You jerk off with your left hand. He's just like, he just uses all that stuff to his advantage, and then we have this epic knife fight.
Watching again too, I think I couldn't send stunt doubles. I'm pretty sure Timothy Chalamet and Austin Butler, they had to train for fucking months and months because this was a badass fight scene. And again, Paul took some fucking damage. Like at one point, I wasn't sure if Paul was going to win this fight.
Oh, really?
I mean, obviously, I know there's sequel books, but like if you're watching it in the moment and stuff too, it's like it seems like Paul may not make it out of here. If you weren't expecting sequels, because Paul got he took some damage. It wasn't just a one-sided battle. It's like he had to earn his victory, which I liked. I mean, Paul didn't walk like he didn't just like two-shot him. It's over. It's like he earned the fucking his title and stuff. And and the last thing before we head out, so yes, it's Stilgar. When Paul in that scene, when he becomes the fucking the friggin' Messiah, Stilgar is just going to ecstatic. He's just like the prophecy's fucking fulfilled. I got it. We got everything we want. And so, and I guess at the end, like you said, he talks to the Emperor. He decides to marry the Emperor's daughter for a political move. He still loves Shani, but like going forward, and of course the great houses, they all show up. And they say it too. It's like, yeah, well, all the great houses don't accept your ascendants and they don't care. So at the very end, we get fucking talking to Rebecca there. Rebecca's like, yeah. And then she's talking to her daughter inside the womb. What's going on, Mom? She goes, well, your brother just won, but now we begin the fucking holy wars, which I'm guessing that's going to go into
the other houses. The other houses respond and say they don't accept his ascendance, but they also do not attack. They didn't come. It's a stalemate because remember he says, he's like, hey, let them know they want to come in and rush us. That's fine. They outnumber us, but we'll use our tactical nukes and blow up the spice.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
we have them at a stalemate. In that way.
And everyone in council all flipped out. Like the older mother, everyone like the Paul, be careful, shut up. And like the emperor, like they're also used to spice. That like these guys think that Paul won't blow up the fucking spice because the spice is the most powerful commodity in this universe. And Paul's like, no, I'm not fucking around. I'll wipe this shit out.
Yeah.
Like, oh damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who cares?
Yeah.
He's all or nothing.
Yeah.
He plays it masterfully. Everybody that are the big movers and shakers in this, they play their roles amazing. The actors play it good, and the plot itself moves in such a way. Again, like I said, I was a little worried because you know me, man. I like plot. I like story. I will take cheap visual effects for a good story any day of the week. I do not give a shit. However, this has both. I never felt bored with like a bunch of long establishing shots. And in fact, I mean, just me personally, it made me miss the desert a little bit. I mean, I lived in the desert for 3 years myself. It kind of made me miss it. It can be very beautiful. Of course, I didn't have to deal with sandworms, obviously, but I did have Hajis trying to shoot me. So whatever that's worth. But it's just, I think I really felt in the theater. I felt that I'm watching it and I'm telling you,
was badass.
That was amazing.
Okay, I'm gonna pause 1 sec. Go ahead, keep talking.
I felt that in this movie, I said to myself, I think that this is a harbinger of great cinema coming back. I got excited for the first time in a long time. Now, we did our low bar review of a couple movies recently. This is like our fifth one. Some bad, some good. I really enjoyed Land of Bad, but I mean, that's just like a good, action military popcorn movie. This is an epic thing. This is the kind of movie that I really feel like people are going to go see like 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I really believe that I myself will go see it again, and I almost never do that.
100%. Like, I mean, I went Sunday to the mall. That's most people I've seen in a theater in a long time. Even tonight, I mean, well, it's opening day, but still. And like I said, I don't see much competition for this film for the rest of the year. And like I said, hopefully, I mean, we'll get into that later. But like I did after watching part 2, the past couple of days of YouTube stuff, there is this is only book 1. So there's a lot more Dune out there. Who knows what's going to happen? But at least we got if this is all we got, I'd be fine with that.
I'd be totally fine with it. This would be totally good with me. I don't need any more. Listen, if you can make me like actors that I dislike, then I think you're doing a great job. If you can make me cheer in the theater when he beat Austin Butler, when he rode the sandworm, when he took down or had the emperor, like kneel and like kiss his ring.
Yep.
I cheered in these moments. I was invested in Paul Atreides. I was invested in Timothée Chalamet as an actor. So if you can make me feel something like that, then you've done a good job. Because I'm a pretty hardened cynic. I'm not someone who hates everything. Even in our own low bar reviews, I've liked more stuff than you have. But I am definitely somebody that I'm a pretty harsh critic when I want to be.
Yeah.
So
no, fantastic. At some point, I said this is we want to kill an hour and a half, but I mean, trust me, when this comes on digital, you, me, and Enzo or somebody, we could sit down. Part 2 alone, we could do a fucking 4.5 hour stream on this goddamn movie. There's so much to unpack. But I think for the most part, we unpacked the main talking points. Did a quick spoiler. There's a lot more to get into, but that's that's overall, like you said, it's not a complex film. I mean, not a complex series from what I gathered. I know going forward, boy, like even the drinker said this before, and I watched some videos. part 1 is pretty contained, and when you start getting to the sequels, I'm pretty sure the Holy Wars could be pretty good. But like from what I gathered, yeah, we start getting to like books 4, 5, and 6. Now it's getting like, oh shit, guys.
Yeah, I kind of
So,
hope. I mean, on the one hand, I'm glad for it because it's telling me that it's bringing back cinema to where it should be. But on the other hand, man, I don't want like 20 Dune movies. I don't want a Dune prequel. I don't want a Dune cinematic universe. Like, you know what I mean? I hope they kind of go the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy route. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. So,
yeah.
I mean, if we can get something like that, I'll be pretty happy.
Well, I'm to the point now also, but hey, look, as long as you do stuff well, I will watch 20 Dune films if they're done well, if they're this fucking good, but we'll see. So
yeah.
But,
all right, that's
man,
our
thanks,
low bar
appreciate it.
review, man. Yeah,
have
definitely.
have fun with it. At some point, we'll do like a very long. It's going to take a lot of preparation, but I can see someone. Come on, we got people out there bitching about fucking Mueller does a 9-hour video on Doctor Strange, how much he hates it. I'm sure we could do a 5-hour video how much we love Dune.
Yeah.
So
no, and this is again something I did not read the source material. I didn't really care for the 1984 movie. I don't, up to this point, the main actors and actresses that are in it, I didn't really care for. And it made me a believer. So whatever that's worth to you.
All right, next we'll see what you want, but we still got I know the if we get a chance, a new Austin Butler and Tom Hardy film looks pretty good. I damn sure want to see the new Henry Cavill film. So we got some stuff coming out this year.
I did get the preview for the Henry Cavill film. Are you talking about the Law of Ungentlemanly Warfare or whatever it's called?
That looks fun. I mean, I love Guy Ritchie, so
I got that. I got the Furiosa trailer. I got Deadpool trailer.
I mean, maybe Furiosa is so terrible we could just rip it apart for an hour and a half.
I'm very happy to do that. But I had it. This was a great movie going experience, man.
So I hope I'm wrong because Christ, we're only in March, dude. But like as I said one last time, guys, it's March. Between now and December, I do not see myself seeing any movie in a theater. I'm gonna go one more time, and I just don't see for me anything this year beating this movie out.
Deadpool? No, not Deadpool.
I mean, Deadpool. I wanted to. I'm very cautious because still, bottom line is Ryan Reynolds. It's still Disney, and I do not see Disney giving him the freedom that Fox did.
Really?
So I mean, I could be wrong, but I said I hope I'm wrong, but just like Disney, come on, you think Disney's gonna let Ryan Reynolds really make fun of them? Disney, hey, Dale,
I don't know.
I read the books and the movies. When he killed the Baron was great. No monologue. Definitely, yeah. He's a grandfather. Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was
just great acting. It wasn't long drawn out. No fucking monologue. No, the Baron begging for his life or anything. Just like grandfather. And there you go.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. It was and then him going up against Fayed. It's like, oh, hey, cousin. And the guy's like, "Oh, are we cousins? Well, I've killed lots of other relatives, so this shouldn't be any different than me."
I'll say 1 second. I noticed it a second time. If you notice, Skarsgård, Stellan, he never stands up the entire film. He's always floating on something.
No, I didn't notice that until you just said that.
He's either floating on water. He never walks the entire film. And I noticed the second time.
I did not notice that until you just
next time you watch it. What notice that said the Baron never walks because he's too fucking fat.
By the way, in case anyone wants to know, I don't know how to pronounce it. But the way that they fight, it's a Filipino knife fighting tactic that you would see in Reacher season 1. By the way,
they killed the brain. Yeah. Now, Dale. Yeah, check out the replays. Yeah, because we're about to head out stuff. But no, thanks, dude. We'll figure out. Said we definitely got more low bar stuff coming out this year, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go play Hell Divers and go kill some bugs like Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
So,
all right,
buddy. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you later. And that was a good stream.
All right.